The tomb of the Sun King. The sun was slowly descending over the majestic Andes, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink, and casting elongated shadows that danced across the dusty, rugged landscape of Peru. Dean Mora, a seasoned archaeologist with a face etched by time and experiences, stood resolutely at the edge of a steep cliff, his eyes fixed on the sprawling valley that lay below him. For decades, he had devoted his life to unraveling the mysteries of the Inca civilization, immersing himself in their history, culture, and the stories that had survived through the ages. Recently, however, a new spark had ignited within him, one that filled him with an exhilarating sense of purpose. He had caught wind of a tantalizing rumor, whispers of an ancient treasure hidden deep within a secret tomb, a relic of a long-lost era that had slipped through the fingers of time. The idea of this treasure was not just any ordinary find. It was said to belong to an enigmatic Sun King, a ruler whose wealth was as legendary as the tales of his reign, a figure shrouded in myth and reverence. With a weathered map clutched tightly in his hand, Dean carefully traced the intricate lines that promised to lead him to the fabled location of this hidden trove. Each curve and marking on the map seemed to pulse with potential, feeding his imagination with visions of what could be unearthed. The thrill of the chase surged through his veins, intoxicating him with a heady mix of excitement and anticipation. Dean meticulously packed his gear, ensuring that he had everything he might need for the journey. He had tools for excavation, a sturdy backpack, provisions, and a journal to document every moment of this extraordinary quest. He was ready to embark on an expedition that had the potential to change the course of history forever. The prospect of uncovering the secrets of the past, of bringing to light the treasures that had been concealed for centuries, filled him with a sense of urgency and wonder. With one last look at the breathtaking vista before him, Dean Mora set forth on a path that was as much about discovery as it was about the adventure that awaited him in the heart of the Andes. Dean trekked through the dense and vibrant jungles of Peru, where the air was thick with humidity, creating a heavy atmosphere that clung to his skin. The cacophony of wildlife surrounded him, a symphony of chirps, calls, and rustles that filled the air with life. As he pushed deeper into the emerald labyrinth, he navigated through treacherous full of slippery roots and tangled vines, relying on his honed skills to decipher the ancient markings etched into the surrounding trees and rocks. These cryptic symbols, remnants of a long-lost civilization, might very well lead him to the fabled tomb he's searching for. Days turned into a blur of sweat and determination, each step taking him closer to his elusive goal. The thrill of discovery propelled him forward, but it was accompanied by an unsettling sensation that he could not ignore. There was an uncanny awareness that he was not alone in this wild expanse. A feeling of being watched crept over him, an instinctual warning that sent shivers down his spine. Shadows between the towering trees and the rustle of leaves seemed to whisper secrets of their own, hinting at something, or perhaps someone, trailing his every move. Dean tried to dismiss the growing unease as mere paranoia, a byproduct of the isolation and the oppressive heat. Yet, no matter how he attempted to shake off the feeling, it lingered like a dark cloud over his thoughts. He could not rid himself of the nagging sensation that unseen eyes were tracking his progress, observing him with a predatory patience. Each snap of a twig or flutter of wings heightened his alertness. As he pressed on, a mix of excitement and dread churned within him, urging him to remain vigilant and cautious in this ancient living tapestry of life. On the fifth day of his heavy journey through the dense and unyielding jungle, Dean finally stumbled upon a clearing that felt almost ethereal in its tranquility. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and the sounds of distant wildlife, but it was the sight before him that truly captivated his attention. There, partially obscured by a tangle of thick vines and a carpet of vibrant green moss, lay the entrance to the long-lost tomb he had sought for so long. The ancient stone archway, worn by time and nature, seemed to beckon him closer, whispering secrets of a bygone era. However, just as he took a step forward, a rustle in the underbrush caught his attention, and his heart sank. Emerging from the shadows were a group of men, their figures hulking and intimidating as they stepped into the clearing. The glints of metal from their machetes and knives caught Dean's eye, their expressions stern and uncompromisable. These were no ordinary travelers. They were grave robbers, drawn to this sacred place by the very same tantalizing rumors that had lured Dean into this journey. "Back off, old man," one of the men snarled, a cruel smile stretching across his face as he waved a machete menacingly in Dean's direction. "This treasure is ours, and we intend to claim it." In that moment, Dean felt a surge of adrenaline course through his veins, his heart racing as fear mingled with determination. Yet, despite the palpable threat hanging in the air, he stood his ground, refusing to let panic dictate his actions. "This treasure belongs to history, not to thieves," he replied, his voice unwavering and steady, resonating with a conviction that surprised even him. The robbers erupted into laughter, a harsh and mocking sound that echoed through the clearing. But Dean, with a keen eye, noticed the glint of greed that flickered in their eyes, a telltale sign of their desperation and hunger for wealth. They began to close the distance between them, encircling him like wolves preparing to pounce on their prey. Dean knew he had to act quickly. Time was of the essence, and he could not afford to be intimidated. He had faced danger before in his life, navigating treacherous paths and overcoming obstacles that seemed insurmountable. The thought of backing down now, at the very threshold of his quest, was simply not an option. With a deep breath, he prepared himself for what was to come, ready to fight for the legacy of the past and protect the history that was far more valuable than any treasure these men could ever hope to possess. The jungle had tested him time and again, but he would not give up now. Without any prior indication, the leader of the group suddenly lunged at Dean with a fierce intensity. Drawing upon the wealth of experience he had accumulated over the years, Dean instinctively sidestepped the attack, his reflexes honed to perfection. In a fluid motion, he countered with a swift and powerful kick, his foot connecting with the leader's midsection and sending the man sprawling to the ground in a heap. The other robbers, momentarily taken aback by Dean's unexpected agility and skill, hesitated, their confidence wavering. However, this moment of surprise was fleeting. They quickly regrouped, their expressions hardening as the atmosphere shifted. The once orderly confrontation devolved into a chaotic scuffle, with fists flying and shouts echoing through the air. Dean fought with a fierce determination, his instincts guiding him as he navigated the battle. He made clever use of his surroundings, ducking behind sturdy trees for cover, swinging branches like makeshift weapons, and even throwing dirt into the eyes of his opponents to gain the upper hand. The robbers, caught off guard by his resilience and resourcefulness, struggled to keep up with his relentless fighting. One by one, Dean took them down, each victory a testament to his toughness and unwavering resolve. He moved with a blend of grace and ferocity, his every action calculated to maximize his advantage. The chaos of the fight only fueled his determination, and it was clear that he was not going to back down. After what felt like an eternity of grueling struggle, Dean finally stood over the last remaining robber, who had succumbed to the ground, defeated and gasping for breath. The air was thick with tension and the remnants of the fierce battle that had just unfolded. Dean, his chest heavy as he caught his breath, looked down at the fallen man, a mixture of exhaustion and triumph etched across his face. "You should have chosen a different path," he said, his voice steady yet heavy with the weight of the confrontation. The words hung in the air, a stark reminder of the consequences that come from a life of crime. With the robbers now dealt with, Dean took a moment to catch his breath, his heart still pounding from the adrenaline of the whole ordeal. The tension that had gripped him moments before began to fade, replaced by a swell of anticipation. He turned back to the entrance of the tomb, feeling a potent mix of excitement and trepidation coursing through him. The thick vines that had once obscured the entrance parted easily now, as if welcoming him into the secrets that lay beyond. They revealed an ancient stone doorway, its surface full of intricate carvings that seemed to whisper tales of a long-lost civilization. As he stepped inside, he was immediately enveloped in darkness, the air cool and musty, carrying the scent of age and forgotten stories. He flicked on his flashlight, the beam cutting through the shadows and illuminating the walls around him. To his astonishment, the flickering light revealed stunning murals that told the story of the Sun King and his reign, vibrant scenes of a glorious past coming to life before his eyes. Each brushstroke seemed to pulse with history, capturing the essence of a time when this king ruled with both power and grace. Dean's heart raced with the thrill of discovery, every heartbeat echoing the magnitude of what he was witnessing. In the center of the chamber lay a magnificent sarcophagus, a true masterpiece draped in gold and adorned with an array of shimmering jewels that caught the light and sparkled like stars in the night sky. The craftsmanship was exquisite, each detail meticulously carved, suggesting not only the wealth of its occupant, but also the reverence with which they were held by their people. Dean approached cautiously, his every instinct urging him to tread carefully, for he knew he was standing on sacred ground. This was not merely an artifact, this was history, a treasure that belonged to the world and a testament to the artistry and culture of a civilization that had long since faded into the annals of time. He felt a profound connection to the past, a sense of responsibility to honor the legacy of those who had come before him. As Dean meticulously documented his findings, carefully noting every detail and nuance of the artifacts he had uncovered, a profound realization began to dawn upon him. This treasure he had stumbled upon was not merely a collection of valuable objects. It represented a rich tapestry of a civilization that had flourished long ago, its echoes trembling through time. Each item he cataloged was a piece of a larger puzzle, telling a story of people who had lived, loved, and thrived in a world that had long since vanished. The weight of this realization settled heavily on his heart, filling him with a deep sense of responsibility. He understood that it was his duty to protect this sacred site from the insatiable claws of greed and exploitation that often threatened such historical treasures. With the tomb now secured, Dean stepped out into the brilliant sunlight, feeling the warmth of the day wash over him. Yet, the exhilaration of his discovery was tempered by the heavy burden he carried. He was acutely aware that he would need to report his findings to the appropriate authorities, a task that would require not only diligence but also a passionate advocacy for the preservation of this site. It was crucial to ensure that this remarkable glimpse into the past would remain intact for future generations to explore and learn from, free from the destructive forces that so often sought to capitalize on such discoveries. He noticed the grave robbers were gone, leaving behind only their footprints. As he made his way back through the dense, vibrant jungle, the sounds of nature surrounding him, he felt a renewed sense of purpose swell within him. The adventure he had just experienced had challenged him in ways he had not anticipated, pushing him to his limits both physically and mentally. Yet, through it all, he had emerged with a more profound appreciation for the field of archaeology and the countless untold stories waiting to be uncovered beneath layers of earth and time. Dean Mora was not merely an archaeologist. He had become a guardian of history, a steward of the past, committed to preserving the legacies of those who had come before. He felt invigorated, ready to face the challenges ahead, knowing that he was part of something much larger than himself, a vital link in the chain of human history. If you enjoyed this video, please consider to like and subscribe for more videos like this. Thank you, and until next time.